It's more than confirmed that Bluey is getting a movie in 2027, and it has everything it needs to be a masterpiece. But do you have any idea of the incredible things that could happen in the Bluey movie? Chili's mom. One of the first things confirmed about this production is that new ideas are going to be explored here, like the use of 3D. Yes, the movie will be made with computer-generated animation instead of being 2D. In other words, we can be sure that this production will take the opportunity to do things the series has never done before. For example, the film could show some characters we've always wanted to see but who still haven't appeared. And one example is Chili's mom. She has only appeared in photos and in Chili's imagination, but never as a character in an episode. The reason is that she unfortunately is no longer alive. However, this is far from meaning that it's impossible for Chili's mom to appear in the movie. This could happen through a flashback, back when Chili was still a child and her mom was alive. It would be very hard to watch a scene like that without feeling like crying, especially because Chili's mom apparently was amazing, and that only makes her passing even more tragic. That's right, the Bluey movie will be very different, and we're going to tell you everything we know about it. Are you ready? Because another amazing Cinewave is starting now. Trip. Something everyone is waiting to find out is, what will be the main story of this movie? Just like a Bluey episode, the film needs to focus on a specific event. The difference is that the episodes of the series usually last about 7 minutes, while the movie will be over an hour long. In other words, its story needs to revolve around a very important event, like a trip to another country, and we believe that's exactly what's going to happen. Just imagine the entire Healer family getting together to travel to another country very different from Australia, like, for example, Canada. Since the series is very faithful to the locations of Brisbane, the Australian city where Bluey lives, the movie would also be very faithful to Canada's tourist spots, and that would be a lot of fun. And when we say the entire Healer family going on this trip, we really mean everyone, okay? Including the uncles, the cousins, and the grandparents of the little blue pup. Jean-Luc. Everyone is waiting for the day when Bluey will reunite with Jean-Luc, the Labrador who befriends her in the episode Camping, even though the two speak different languages, since Jean-Luc only speaks French. The ending of the episode showed that they will meet again when they're teenagers. But what if, in reality, they reunite in this movie already? In fact, that's why we think the story will be about a trip to Canada, since Jean-Luc lives in that country. Maybe Bluey herself will suggest the trip be to Canada, hoping to find her friend. But this reunion will happen in a super unexpected moment, maybe with Bluey going to a park with her cousins and then finding Jean-Luc playing there. From that moment on, what was supposed to be a normal scene will become very emotional, and it will change everything we thought about that scene of Bluey reuniting with Jean-Luc as a teenager. We thought they had spent all those years without seeing each other, but it's possible the two kept in touch online after reuniting in Canada, which makes their story much less tragic. Brandy's labor. But that's not the only emotional thing that should happen in this movie. In fact, we think many crazy things will happen during this trip at the same time, leaving the Healer family overwhelmed, and one of these events will be Aunt Brandy going into labor. The birth of Brandy's baby is something fans have been waiting for since the episode The Sign, where Chili's sister revealed that she finally managed to get pregnant after several years of trying, and it was amazing to find that out because poor Brandy always wanted to have children and suffered a lot for not being able to become a mother. It's certain that Brandy's baby will appear in Bluey's 4th season, since her belly was already quite big in The Sign. The movie of the little blue pup brings the perfect opportunity for us to see the birth of the baby, especially because this is the birth of a new member of the Healer family, and that's far too important to be left aside. So are you also excited to see Brandy's baby being born? If so, comment down below #Brandy. Divorce. As we already said, a lot of crazy things are going to happen to the Healer family in this movie. The birth of Brandy's baby will be something good, but not everything is going to be so positive, since it's very possible that we'll also have to witness the divorce of Uncle Stripe and Aunt Trixie, Muffin and Socks' parents. This is something that the show seems to have been building up to for quite some time. Trixie and Stripe love each other, and no one is doubting that, but it's also clear that they aren't as united as they could be, especially compared to Bandit and Chili. In the episode Facey Talk, Stripe argues with Muffin because she stole his phone. That makes Trixie upset, leading to an argument between the two. The worst part is that Muffin was hiding and listening to everything, but she kept playing as if it were nothing. Something similar happened in a scene from The Sign, where the couple is seen arguing in the background while Socks calmly plays with the wedding cake toppers. If we pay attention, we'll notice that she's imitating her parents' fight with the toys. These scenes make it very clear that Stripe and Trixie argue so often that their daughters see it as something normal, to the point where they stay calm and even imitate these fights while playing. With that in mind, it becomes clear that the series is setting the stage for Stripe and Trixie to go through a divorce to put an end to all these fights, which is something very bold to show in an animated series. Just imagine how tense things will get on this trip when the couple has their final argument and then breaks up. Mort gets sick. Did you think the sad events would stop here? Actually, the worst part will be when Grandpa Mort falls ill and has to be taken to the hospital, which will practically turn the trip into a tragic event. And the worst part is, it makes complete sense for this to happen here. Mort has very fragile health, and we saw that in the episode Granddad, where he had to undergo surgery because of a heart condition. The worst part is that, even though he needed to rest, he would still push himself just to play with his granddaughters. And it's no mystery that fragile health plus a mindset that ignores consequences is a very dangerous combination. Because of that, it's easy to imagine this tragedy happening. Maybe this is the moment when we'll see the flashback with Chili's mom, which could be a memory from Chili or from Mort himself because of the situation. Either way, we can't rule out the possibility of this ending with Grandpa Mort passing away in a tragic way, creating the saddest moment in Bluey, the end of childhood. With all these important events, both the good and the bad, we can come to a conclusion. The Bluey movie might actually be about the end of the little blue pup's childhood, with this trip representing the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another. Stripe's divorce and Grandpa Mort's passing representing the end, while Bluey reuniting with Jean-Luc and the birth of Brandy's baby represent a new beginning. If that's true, you should get ready, because this might be the last time you see Bluey as a child, since there's a chance a time skip will happen at the end and she'll appear as a teenager. So the season that comes out after this movie will follow the story of the little blue pup from that point on, making the show evolve from a children's cartoon about kids who love to play into a coming-of-age animated series about teenagers discovering new stages of life. Lost toy. Thinking about it this way, we should expect another bad thing to happen in this story, and that is Bluey losing a very important toy to her, Chattermax for example. After all, toys represent childhood, so her losing one after all those events is the perfect way to show us that Bluey's childhood is coming to an end and that a new phase of her life is beginning. At first, this will seem like a bad thing, but by the end of the movie, we should see Bluey realizing that she's going through a natural part of her life and that many amazing new adventures are still ahead. After all, a lot of bad things may have happened, but she also witnessed the birth of her cousin and got to see Jean-Luc again. We have to agree that this is a powerful way to wrap up the first phase of the little blue pup's journey. After that, everyone will be very excited to watch the next season, where she will be a teenager. Subscribing to the channel is just as good as watching your favorite animations. Shall we click? Real fight. With so many bad things about to happen, Bluey, Bingo, and their cousins will be going through the most stressful moment of their lives. All the disagreements they've had so far were resolved quickly, but this time, it's very likely that a serious fight will break out between Bluey and Bingo. Not just a small disagreement, but a real argument where the two of them don't want to be friends anymore, or even sisters. It's upsetting just to think about it, but it's impossible to deny that this might actually happen. All we can do is hope they make up during the movie. 2D and 3D. The biggest difference in the Bluey movie is that the production will move away from the show's 2D animation style and switch everything to 3D animation, just like Pixar, Illumination, and DreamWorks animated films. But what if the movie goes even further and starts out in 2D, only for, early on, everything to suddenly shift into 3D, to the point where even the characters themselves might realize something is off? Bluey has already made jokes about animation before, like when the show revealed a computer screen with an animator's hand working on the animation process of the scenes while the main character was sleeping, only for her to wake up and say she had a strange dream. So starting the movie with a similar scene isn't that far-fetched, but it would be hilarious, and it would make sure no one expects all those tragedies to unfold as the story goes on. If you liked this video, there are 2 more ready on the screen. Just click and keep watching with us. Thanks, and see you soon.